Starting off in a gacha game is really exciting and fun. But if you aren't new to gacha games, you may already know that some mistakes you make early game can really prove to be a headache later on. So in this video, I'm going to tell you 6 mistakes that you should avoid starting off in Wuthering Waves, which may later ruin your experience in the game. Starting off with the first mistake you can do is to spread your resources thin. Wuthering Waves is not really a very kind game when it comes to giving you level up materials and resources. So only invest in a few characters. Getting so many characters at the start can be exciting, but you also need a lot of resources to level them up. If your characters aren't built properly in Wuthering Waves, you will really have a tough time facing with the strong enemies in the game. So if you spread your resources thin, you will have to farm a lot more to get all those characters maxed out. And that is why you will end up wasting even more stamina, which you could have used to farm echoes or other kinds of materials. So always invest and focus on one main DPS. Try to find out which character you really like in the game. It can be a little bit difficult because obviously starting off a new game, you don't know how the characters play out or which character will fit your playstyle. So go around, experiment with the characters, see which character you like and focus on only one main DPS. Max it out, level up everything you can do with that DPS, level up its echoes and everything, and then once you are done with that one character, focus on one sub DPS that works really good with their character. Maybe buffs the damage of the character, or maybe just works well, combos well with the intro and outro of your main DPS. And then after that, if you have some resources left, you can invest it in your healer. Your healer doesn't need the best stats after all because it's just going to heal. So your main priority is going to be leveling up your main DPS, get its weapon to the max level, get its echoes to the max level, everything you can. Yeah, just focus on one team. Don't try to make multiple teams at the starting of the game, otherwise it will be very difficult. And try to settle down on which 5-star you want to choose from the beginner banner, so that when you're building your team and you're collecting your echoes, you do that according to that 5-star and don't end up leveling random echoes. So that's going to be your tip number 1. Following through with the first point, the second mistake you can do is actually underestimating the combat of this game. Okay, the combat in Wuthering Waves is not easy, and especially if you're coming from a game like Genshin, it can actually feel a little bit tough. Now, once you start the game in Wuthering Waves, the combat will actually feel pretty simple to Genshin. You can just go ahead and attack the enemies normally and they'll just die. So you may develop this mentality that, just hitting the enemies will kill everything. But let me tell you, the game gets tough very, very fast. Okay, so one moment you will be killing all the enemies with just 1 or 2 attacks, and then the next moment you will have an enemy who will literally one-shot you. Yeah, no matter which character you're using, no matter what build you have enemies in this game that will one-shot you regardless. So you have to develop these skills of padding on time or dodging perfectly, otherwise you will have a lot of difficulty facing these tough enemies. So what to do if you are not really good at combat? Well, for first, I would recommend that go into trial stages for these characters and learn their combos. You have really good trial stages in Wuthering Waves that teach you exactly what character uses what form of combos, what their attacks look like and everything. So go ahead through these trial stages for every character and get to know your character better. Obviously, Google about them, see all the guides and stuff you can find online. I'm pretty sure you will find lots of guides and we will be making them as well. Learn more about your character. That's the first thing you can do. And the second thing, if you want to improve your combat skills, that is parrying and dodging, tacet fields are a really good place to farm. So tacet fields are going to be your go-to place if you want to farm echoes. However, if you don't want to waste your stamina, you can just farm these stages completely all the time and just don't claim the rewards. So you can rinse and repeat these stages. They have multiple mobs, all of them spawn at the same time, and so you can really practice this dodging and parrying with all these mobs. And once you get used to these things, then the game will be much more enjoyable, because that perfect parry is like really satisfying if you pull it off. So get prepared for an overall challenging game. There's casual stuff in this game, surely, yeah, but there's also very, very tough and challenging content in this game. So always go in with that mentality that the next boss you're fighting probably will be pretty tough. Okay, so be prepared for all the combat, get your buffs ready, everything ready, and only then just go into these elite fights. The next mistake you can do is not killing every enemy on the side of the field. Whenever you enter the game, you see any mob around you, go ahead, kill it. don't leave a single mob, because these mobs have a chance of dropping echoes, and echoes, they are like kind of rare. You don't get an echo every time you kill a mob. Okay, so the more echoes you have, you can use it to upgrade your terminal, and your terminal is basically like your adventure rank in this game. So the only way to do that is you kill more and more echoes, and that is why your terminal level goes up. If your terminal level is low, then you will not be able to equip 5 echoes at a time. So your first priority should be leveling up your terminal. To do that, go ahead and farm every single mob you see on the map. They will drop a lot of materials, they will also drop a lot of echoes, and you will need both these echoes and the materials. The materials you will need for creating different kinds of foods buffs or leveling up your characters. You generally don't want to run out of materials. Don't miss out on any enemy, just go ahead and kill everything. Speaking of materials, the next mistake you want to avoid is not picking up everything that you see in the map. This is especially important early game because you will not have a lot of resources to begin with. So you see that blinking fruits or plants or whatever thing, a shiny piece of rock on the ground, just go ahead and pick it up, because you will be needing a lot of these materials to level up your characters, to level up their weapons, unlock their talents and all that stuff, leveling up your echoes. So you don't want to run out of these materials, and you will be needing these materials for cooking, which is a pretty important thing in this game, mind you, because those food buffs that you get from these foods after cooking are really helpful in taking down the elite bosses. So you want to farm these materials as much as you can whenever you see them on the early game all over the map. You can buy these from the merchant, but then again you will be spending your in-game currency, which is also something you will be lacking early on, right? We don't want to spend stamina to farm in-game currency. So it's best that you just go ahead and collect every single thing on the map. When you start the game, you will see these small glowing objects, okay, called Sune's caskets, I think. Yeah, you will find these glowy things on the map, and they're kind of like Oculus in Genshin. I just got PTSD from saying Oculus. Anyway, yeah, they are here as well. You're not free from them. However, the best thing about these is these don't give you stamina. So these are completely optional. You can skip them if you want to. However, it is recommended to collect these because you can exchange these with a merchant in the town, and he's gonna give you materials to ascend your main character, your rover, if you are going to plan on using the rover. And you will also be getting a lot of other materials and limited banner pulls. So if you see these glowing blue things on the map, just use a interactive map or some sort and just mark down all of these so that you don't lose track of them. Now if you made this far into the video, make sure to subscribe, guys. Only 1% of you guys are subscribed. Let's just raise that figure, okay? It doesn't look good when you see 99% of your viewers are not subscribed. The next important thing to avoid in this game is pulling for meta. Yeah, this may sound contradictory, but don't follow the meta right now, guys, okay? All of these characters are early game units. Now if you have played any gacha game, or if you have any experience with any gacha games whatsoever, you know that the early units in a gacha game are going to get power crept, and they'll not be just power crept lightly, they'll be power crept hard. They want to sell future banner characters as well, right? So obviously the first characters that you get in this game, they are not going to stay strong for a long time. If you don't like the design of a character that's so-called meta, for example, you don't like the design of Verena. I know many people don't like the design of Verena. If you don't like the design of Verena and you are just scared that if I don't pull this meta character, I'll not be able to enjoy the game properly, just don't do it, okay? We will get better characters than these later on in the future. Don't sweat your head around these. Just try to make a team around a DPS, a sub DPS and a healer so that you can stay strong throughout the content. Now you can choose whichever DPS, sub DPS or healer you like. Just make sure that they fit these roles and their intro and outro skills and elements, they kind of synergize with each other. You just use the characters that you want and make a team around them, okay? Don't try to chase the meta too much early game, because we know that this meta will not stick. It will really change very fast. Just do what you like, and overall just use the characters that you like. It will help you have a much more fun and much more enjoyable time with the game, rather than sticking with meta characters who you just hate. And the last and final mistake to avoid in this game, believe me or not, is not reading everything. Yeah, I know it's hard, nobody wants to read, but this game has a lot of complex combat mechanisms, various different abilities, echo abilities, items, okay? You'll be very confused if you don't read these things properly, okay? This isn't like a very easy game where you just skip all the tutorials and you skip all the descriptions and you just go and random unga bunga and kill everything. Okay, you will have to pay attention to how your abilities work, how they synergize, what are the aerial combo buttons that you need to use. Okay, which teammates work better, which teammates, if your echo is even working with the character that you're using, or how does your 4-day circuit work. Okay, so these things are pretty important. There are a few important and new concept combat ideas in this game that you will not see in other games. Okay, so understanding how the combat works, understanding how the buffs, debuffs work and enemy mechanisms work is pretty important in this game. You don't want to skip these out, otherwise maybe you'll just end up getting stuck with the boss. You're fighting it, you're losing it, you just keep on fighting it and losing it for 50 minutes, and then later on you realize, oh, the echo I'm using doesn't even work like this. Okay, so just read through everything, because it's early game. The best resource you can have is information, so stay informed, don't skip on crucial information. So at the beginning of the game, your strongest ally is going to be your information. Just research stuff and don't make wrong decisions. Okay, so that will be it for today, guys. I hope these tips have helped you or will help you when you play the game and you don't make bad decisions in Wuthering Waves. Because trust me, when you're playing a gacha game and you're like 15 days in and you realize, oh my god, I spent my resources on every character, now I cannot even clear the story, it feels really bad. Okay, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'll be making more Wuthering Waves content, and I'll also be streaming the game when it drops. So day 1 stream, we'll be trying to hit level 45, and I'll see you there.